So we're just beginning the recording. All right, great. So let's dive in. All right, everyone. So as I mentioned, we're in PPC Experts Academy Week 4. Week 4 is all about scaling and automating, and this is presented by me, Ben Pate, and let's go ahead and dive in. So once again, our class format is some PowerPoint and some live walkthrough, and definitely ask questions, so let's keep it interactive, and please leave the off-topic questions until the very end. So when you're asking questions, keep them on topic on what we're covering. So let's take a look at what we're going to review tonight. First, we're going to take a look at automated rules, and then we're going to look at bulk changes using the AdWords interface. We're then going to dive into AdWords Editor and look at cloning, automated bid changes, how to quickly write ads, bulk imports with spreadsheets, and some other really cool features of AdWords Editor that really make your life easy. And then last but definitely not least, we're going to review remarketing strategies and setup. All right, so let's take a look at automated rules. This is one of my favorite features in Google AdWords. So what do? They allow you to schedule automatic changes to your account. You can modify your bids based on certain criteria, and you can schedule ads, repeating or one time. And you can also control your budget and cost with automated rules. So why use them? We use them so that we can do more in less time. That's my favorite reason. And you can manage your account more efficiently using automated rules. And in the past, we would do a lot of number crunching using spreadsheets. But instead, let's let Google do all the number crunching. Let's just put in our criteria and let them do the number crunching. And the great thing is that you don't need spreadsheets, and you can just stay right within the Google AdWords interface. You don't even have to leave it. So where to find automated rules? Most of the tabs, including campaigns, ad groups, ads, and keywords, all have this little automate button. And that's where you find that. So let's take a look at the rules for campaigns. So you can see here that when you click the automate button and you're on the campaigns tab, that this is what is presented with you. Create rule for campaigns. And you can change your daily budget, you can pause campaigns, and you can also enable campaigns. So let's take a look at the rules for ad groups. So once again, you will see this when you've selected the ad groups tab. So when you're on the ad groups tab and you click automate, you'll see change default max CPC, pause ad groups, and enable ad groups. Now you can there's also automate features for ads that allow you to pause ads and enable ads. And this is the one that I tend to use the most, which is the rules for keywords. So you can change the max cost per click, or CPC. You can raise bids to top of page CPC. You can raise the bids to the first page CPC. And you can pause keywords as well as enable keywords. So when you're setting up the automated rules, you have a couple different options for the frequency that this rule will run. And one of the ones that I like the best is the one-time rule. So when the ad just runs one time, and we'll talk more about this later. But so the frequency options are, you can just run the rule one time, or you can run it daily, weekly, or monthly. So basically when you set up this automated rule, every single day at a certain time, let's say 2 p.m., this rule will run. Same thing too with the weeks and the months. So let's take a look at the date range options. So when you select the frequency option, so let's say you say that I want this rule to run monthly, you can then select for the date range options same day. And this is what I mean by this, let me clarify, is that when you run an automated rule, you're going to be setting some sort of criteria or filter for this rule to run. So for example, you may say increase the bid on keywords that are below the 3rd position. And you have to have a date range for that, because that keyword may have been below the 3rd position last week, but is not below the 3rd position this week, or maybe it was below the 3rd position yesterday, but it's not today. So we're going to dive into the live walkthrough and explain all this more, but basically when you're doing the automated rules, these are the ranges that you have to look at the data. You know, what's the data that you're going to crunch? What's the date range? So you got same day, previous day, same week from Sunday, same week from Monday, last 7 days, last week Sunday through Saturday, last week Monday through Sunday, last business week Monday through Friday, last 14 days, same month, last 30 days, last month, last 60 days, last 90 days, or all time. So depending upon what you're doing is going to depend upon the range, and it's a really, really cool feature. I just love this. So let's talk about some best practices when using automated rules. So this is huge. Pay attention to this. You want to name the automated rule in a very descriptive manner. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with database programming and things like that, but it's one of the languages is called SQL, and I think it stands for maybe server query language. I'm not exactly sure, but basically it's how you write commands for a database, and that's kind of the how you want to name your automated rules, because what's going to happen is that these rules are going to run, and if you don't have a descriptive name, then you're not going to be able to tell what rule that was that ran. Because, like, for example, if you just leave the default that, okay, Neil said structured query language, so thanks a lot for that. SQL, structured query language, and you won't know which rule ran. When Google gives you the default name, it's going to say like change max bids or something like that. And so when you're looking at all your rules and you see that they've run, you won't know which one that is. Now, you'll be able to click it and kind of tell a little bit further, but just by the name, you won't be able to tell. And when you're looking at this in a specific account, you wouldn't necessarily need the account name, but there's different alert options for rules, and one of those is that it will send you an email. So like, let's say, for example, if you had a rule that ran once a week, well, one of the options that we'll see in a minute here shows that it will send you an email when it runs. Well, if you don't name it like this with the account name, then, and if you're doing this for several accounts, then unless you know your customer ID for that specific account, then it's going to be difficult to know what is running where. So you want to name that with account name, and then, like, for example, keyword bid change, and the plus sign for me is that means like we're increasing the max cost per click by 5%, where cost per conversions are less than $50, and the average position is greater than 2. So I believe in the terminology that Google uses for the rules, it would say average position is better than or worse than, to kind of make that a little bit clearer for the average position. But anyways, that's how you want to name it. And then you want to make sure that the automator rules aren't working against each other. So if you have multiple rules per account, some increasing the bids, some decreasing the bids, you want to make sure that they're not like conflicting with one another, because you could easily do that. I mean, you could set up a rule where one rule would increase it and the other rule would decrease it, and you'd essentially be canceling things out. So you want to make sure that you're not like canceling the rules out. And then, as I mentioned before, one-time rules are great for quick and spontaneous changes. So, and once again, we'll look at this further here in a sec. But if you get a client and they say, "Hey, I want to increase my budget from $5,000 to $10,000," well, then the question becomes, well, what should you increase? And like, for example, that example, what I would probably do, now obviously depends on how many keywords they have, and can they even reach 10 grand, or are they in the #1 position for all the keywords they have? But let's assume that there's still plenty of room to grow. What I would do is I would run a one-time rule where I would set a criteria, kind of similar to the one I have above here, where I would say increase the managed cost per click by maybe 25%, and where my cost per conversion is below the threshold. So let's say my threshold for cost per conversion is $100. Well, if anything that has less than a $50 cost per conversion, I've got a lot of room to play with. I can go up to 100. So these are really like profitable and good keywords. And let's increase on the things that are performing very well in terms of profitability, but that are not in the like highest position possible. Obviously, if something's already in the #1 position, then we don't want to increase it anymore, because we can't go any higher than that. So one-time rules are great for that. You can, easily jump in and make drastic changes very quickly, and actually drastic changes, but very intelligently, very efficiently. And another best practice is that you want to make sure that you're working with a large enough data set. So you want to make sure looking at least a week of data, 14 days of data, or at least a month. So you don't want to necessarily make a bunch of changes based upon yesterday. What you need to be thinking about on that is like today's Tuesday, so if yesterday was an especially good day or bad day, you may actually want to look at modifying your ad scheduling, as opposed to making, and so you want to just boost your bids on that particular day or decrease your bids on that particular day, as opposed to changing the bids for whatever keywords on like a permanent basis. So before we jump into the live walkthrough, does anybody have any questions on what we just covered before we jump into the live walkthrough? love it when that happens. You get the vertical blinds effect. So there's why a couple questions are coming in. I'm just going to go ahead and get AdWords loaded up here. Yep, Cliff, you can definitely, when you start a rule, you can definitely cancel it. And you can also change it. Yes, Ron, this is being recorded. As long as everything works out fine. Hopefully we don't have any computer crashes tonight, heaven forbid. Yuri asked, what if the rules do work against each other? Can't AdWords detect that? I mean, they might be able to detect it, but they're not going to stop it. All right, so let's see here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get an account loaded up that has some data in it, so we actually have something to gander at. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into the live walkthrough. So as I mentioned, we've got the Automate button here. We're on the Campaigns tab. We click on Add Groups. Automate the tab as well. Ads. Automate. Keywords. Automate. So just want to go ahead and look at something real quick here. So this one's till July. Okay, so okay, so we talked about the value per conversion. So let's say change max CPC bids. So this is what it looks like. It's just like creating a filter. So we've got, you can either do this on selected keywords, all enabled keywords, or all but deleted keywords, which is what is automatically selected by default. So we've got the option to raise bid or decrease bid. So, and basically with this, with running these rules, there's different things you want to look at. You want to look at getting keywords into higher positions that are performing very well. You want to also think about some sort of damage control for keywords that are not performing. So right now we're on the change max CPC bids. So let's say, for example, if you want to target the number 2 position. So I'm going to put raise bid by 5%, or you can even change that to a dollar amount. So you could say, change that by 10 cents. Let's use 5%. I usually use percentages. Max bid, just going to put $5. And on this particular rule, we're targeting the number 2 position. So we can then say, let's see here, performance, average position, worse than, and I'm going to say 2.2. And the reason I'm saying 2.2 is because I'm targeting the number 2 position, and when it's at the 2.2 and it raises up by 5, it's hopefully going to come in at 2. But let's just put it at 2 to keep things easy and simple. So raise bids by 5%, max bid of $5, average position is worse than 2. And so how often do we want this rule to run? So there's our options that we already discussed. And I'm going to say weekly. And running on Monday at 7 p.m. That's fine. You can choose different days. So you might actually want to change this to something like maybe 8 a.m. so that the changes that are made have effect on Monday. If we make the change at 7 p.m., then we basically are losing this Monday. And then we're going to say use data from last week. There's all the different options that we discussed last week. And then here's where you name the rule. So change max. I'm using an abbreviation for the account name. Change max CPC, increase 5% where average position is greater than 2. Now, email results, I generally turn off emails, but you can either email results every time this rule runs, only if there are changes. If you're going to send yourself emails, then I would recommend either choosing only if there are changes or errors, or only if there are errors, or no emails. So there's my account abbreviation, change max CPC plus 5% where average position is greater than 2. And then what you want to do is preview the results. Okay, so nothing would change if the rule ran now. And it's probably because last week, let's use a bigger date range for this example. I suspect that the reason that it didn't work was because even though I have the date range set to this, that it's looking at last week, and this account was technically not running last week. Okay, and then so when you preview results, here are all the keywords that are going to change. So we can see that fountain pumps, $2.43 is the current bid. The new bid will go to $2.55 if run now. And we can see that it's going to change 181 keywords. Here's all the different keywords. Now, maybe we decide that, you know what, 5%, that's not really a drastic enough change because our average cost per click is around $1 or $2. So let's do 10%. Preview results. Still 181 keywords, but now we're going from 243 to 267. And the criteria is that the average position is worse than number 2. So every single week on Monday at 8 a.m., it's going to look at in this example all time, but the recommended setting would be like last week, Monday through Sunday or Sunday through Saturday. And basically it looks at all the data from the last week and increase all the bids that are below our target position of 2. But we're only using one filter criteria here. Let's say that we also want to say that our average position is worse than 2, but now, remember when we talked about the AdWords conversion tracking hack with adding the value? So if we look at value divided by conversion, let's see, it's either, I think that's it. And I believe that if this is the correct one, I'll check it here in a second, but that are now that we're essentially saying, okay, if something isn't profitable, then don't increase it. If we're losing money, then don't increase the bid. You know, and that actually kind of brings up a whole other thing. I mean, you could even just take out average position and just do it based upon the value. But for this particular one, we're just targeting the number 2 position. So let's just keep moving here and keep building on this. So we see the changes that are made. We previewed the results. This is going to run weekly on Mondays at 8 a.m. And just for this exercise, we've got all time, but I recommend usually doing last week. Because if you remember, in last week's optimization session, we talked about bid changes on a weekly basis. So then you just hit save. And now it's there and it's ready. So if you want to look at any of your rules, you can always click Automate and then Manage Rules. So you can see here that I have some rules that are here from the past. And once again, you can see that, you know, I shortcutted it and didn't give it a descriptive name, and so I don't really know exactly what that's doing, but you can click View Details and then see the frequency, decrease bid by 5%, requirements. Cost per conversion, 1 per click, is greater than $30. Average position better than 2. Conversions 1 per click are greater than or equal to 1, and this is on a specific campaign. So basically what I'm doing here is, as I'm lowering the bid on things that are in a high position, but then also have a high cost per conversion. So we jump back to the rules. This is what your screen looks like. You can see all the different rules. Descriptions, frequencies, raise bid. So let's jump back and look at the one that I started to make. So change max CPC bids, raise bid by 10%, max bid of $5, conversions, value divided by conversion. Here, you know what, before that, I want to show you this so you completely understand. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the columns, conversions, value divided by conversion, and apply. Okay, so basically what we're looking for, okay, so it's, I think it's conversion value divided by cost is the one we're looking for. Okay, there it is. So it's conversion value divided by cost. And this was the one that we looked at a couple weeks ago, where we determined that anything that is below 1, we're losing money. Anything that's at 1, we're pretty much breaking even. So like this one's at 1.1. We spent $108 to bring in 121. So conversion value divided by cost. So let's go ahead and automate for conversion value divided by cost. We're going to raise bid 10% and max bid of $5. And we're going to say that conversion value divided by cost is, let's say, greater than 1.5. So we established that 1 would be breaking even, so we spent $100 to make $100 would be at 1. But if we spent $100 to make $150, then that would be 1.5. So we're going to run this rule weekly and base this on last week. For the sake of this, we're going to do all time, but you would do last week once again. So account name, max CPC. If you guys hear any noise in the background, sounds like we're starting to begin to have a rainstorm, so hopefully everything continues to work out okay. So account name, keyword max CPC, plus 10%, where conversion value divided by cost is greater than 1.5. No email, so let's preview results. Okay, so this is great. So we now see keywords that are making us money. Does this make sense for you guys? Can you guys just hit me up in the chat box? Is this clear what we're doing here with the conversion value divided by cost, that we're increasing the bids on keywords that are making us money? All right, a lot of sense. Very clear. Yes, yes, yes. All right, great. Great. I want to make sure that I drive that home, because this is like that special hack that we saw where in this particular account, I'm pretty certain that it's just based upon revenue. So what this account means, what the numbers mean in this is that we spent $100 and we brought in $100 of revenue. But generally speaking, you have a cost of goods sold. So if you bring in $100 of revenue, that may only bring you $20 of actual income, after, when your margin. But if you were to put the actual value of your profit in the value for that conversion tracking code, then it would mean that if you have $100 value, that means you make $100 after you pay for your goods or services. And so if you make $100, well, and then you say, I'm willing to spend $100, then that would be 1. So let's just say, so 1.5, we see, okay, we've got 120 keywords that are making us money that we can raise the bid on. Now, if you wanted to, you could add some additional metrics here. You could say average position is, worse than 1.5, and preview it again. Okay. So what does that tell us? That we just added in another filter and said that we only want to increase keywords that are below the 1.5 position, and now all of a sudden our estimated keywords dropped to 39 instead of 121. So now we're not maxing out. If we want to say, we could also then add 2. Preview results again. Which position worse than 2? Okay, so basically a lot of our profitable keywords are already in a high position. But let's just say worse than 1, because we're making money with these keywords, so we want to max it out to, where if it's like the number 1 position. So we've got 112 keywords. Now, once again, this is what I said, that let Google crunch all the data for you. So essentially, these are your best keywords, all right here. These are the keywords that are making you money. Now, if we wanted to change this to 2, that would mean that if we spent $100, we're bringing in $200. Now we've got 87 keywords. So these are great keywords. I mean, we can change it to 3. 55 keywords. So, I mean, these are keywords. Now, granted, the higher you're going to go on this conversion value divided by cost, the higher this number, really probably the higher that you could even raise the bid. You could probably go 20% on these because, once again, these are very profitable keywords. Okay, so we just covered raising the bids on keywords that are making you money. Now, I realize that not everybody's going to have the value set up in the conversion tracking code. So another way that you can do it is cost per conversion. So you can just say cost per conversion is, and obviously value is the best because cost per conversion only looks at your cost. It's not looking at what you actually bring in on that product. So you might have products that cost $150 to bring in a sale, but that sale equals $300. Whereas you have other products that cost $150 to bring in a sale, and you only make $150. So when you're only looking at cost per conversion, they're pretty much equal, but they're really not equal. So that's why the value is the best thing. But cost per conversion, you could say, okay, cost per conversion less than $10. Preview results. Okay, so we've got 30 keywords that have a cost per conversion of less than $10. Now with that, you'd want to know like what's your average order value, and and then make an assumption on that. Now you could also do this for, let's see here, so you could also do this for a specific campaign. So if you knew that, hey, our pumps campaign, that, I don't know, we've got a high margin on that, you've got some more insight, so then you could say pumps. So now instead of it working on every campaign, it's only going to work on the pumps campaign. Now we're down to 18, and you can see that it's only pumps. So you've got performance, conversions, you got things like quality score. So if you have keywords that have a low quality score, then maybe you want to pause them. But so anyway, so we've got cost per conversion less than $10. We previewed the results. Now obviously I would need to change this, but I'm not going to go ahead and save this one. So we just looked at raising the cost for keywords that we feel are profitable. And we want to get those in the highest position possible because they're making money, we want clicks, and we want to get as many impressions as possible. Now let's talk about lowering the bids. So decrease bid by 5%. Now in this, obviously, we've got minimum bid, so maybe the minimum bid is 50 cents. And once again, our value, so conversion value divided by cost, is less than 1. So once again, we've established that if the conversion value divided by cost is less than 1, then we're losing money. And so we want to decrease our bids. Now, what we might want to say on this, but let's just go ahead and preview results. Okay, so as you can see, we've got a lot of keywords that we're losing money on. Now, you could maybe say, okay, well, one's a little close. Maybe we say 0.8. So we still got a lot of keywords. But what you can do with this is, like I said, let Google do all the number crunching. .5. Okay, we still got a lot. So, I mean, as you can see, that now one thing that we may want to do is greater than or equal to 1. And let's see how it changes. Okay. So what was happening here is that without adding the conversions, 1 per click greater than or equal to 1, that I believe that we were actually getting a lot that were probably just 0 because we haven't had any conversions. So if we add that in, but now let's say that, okay, we got a conversion and it's less than 1. So we've got 35 keywords. So these are keywords that we want to decrease the bid, and we're doing this on a regular basis, and it's automated. So every week, Google's going to look at the keywords from the previous week and give us all the ones that are profitable, and we're going to raise the bid. And then at the same time, it's going to decrease the bid for all the ones that are not profitable. So if you raise the bid on something too much and it goes from being profitable to not profitable, then it's going to come back and catch it and drop the bid then. So, obviously with things like seasonality, if you have like a bad week for some reason, if it's just a terrible week, you might want to consider that. And I know that a lot of times it doesn't work every single time, but a lot of times you can go to Manage Rules, and you see it's got this undo button. So like I said, it doesn't always, it's not always there, and it doesn't always work, but there's an undo button. So sometimes you can, if you make a change, go back and undo it. Here's your rules. You can just pause them. Or you can delete them. You can edit the rule. If you edit the rule, then it's going to, this whole message about you're going to lose your history. All right, so let's jump back over to automated rules. So let's just quickly talk about some different rules. So we can pause keywords when quality score is less than or equal to 2. So that's a common rule. If keywords are a quality score of 2, then you don't want them dragging down your entire account. So you could pause those keywords. If you have any keywords that drop off the first page bid, you can have a rule that's set daily to check and make sure that all the keywords are at least up to the first page bid and increase them to that. So let's just look at that. So increase keyword bids to first page CPC requirements. So we've got status, and you can see it's automatically selected below first page bid. So, this is probably the type of rule that you'd want to run daily over the previous day and increase the bid so that, you're not falling off the first page. So here's for the campaigns. Change daily budget when. So clearly you need to know exactly what your budgets are, but you could say raise this by 50%. If you said if your daily budget's at $100, then you'd want to say something like, when the budget is greater than $75, raise it by 50% so that you're not capping out. So those are the different options. There's quite a few different types. Pause ads when. So like you might want to pause ads when the click-through rate is very low, because that's going to drag down your account. So if I see that with this account it's an average of 4.86, maybe I want to pause the ad when it's below 1%. Pause the ads when display URL contains, does not contain. Approval status. All right, so does anybody have any questions on automated rules? All right, so Neil asks, is there an easy way to tell what the total net change and bid amounts across all changes would be? So I know that we looked at doing the preview results, and it showed the changes in the bids. And that was like on a specific keyword basis. So I'm pretty certain that in the opportunities section, that you can do this campaign bid simulator. You don't really have any requirements. Okay. So unfortunately, we're not getting any data on this, but what this does, this under opportunities and then campaign bid simulator, is that you can pick a campaign and then estimate that, okay, I'm going to increase the bid on all the keywords in that campaign by 10%. And then it would show you the estimated number of clicks increase, that you would get, and then the simulated budget change. So that's where you would find that, Neil. Okay, so Krista asked, what rule would you set up for keywords not showing up? And I assume when you say not showing up, that you mean that are not getting impressions. So what I would do is I would create a rule to, you could either just change max cost per click, or you could just say raise bids to top of page CPC. That's probably the one I would choose, either that or first page. And then I would say requirement is that performance impressions is less than or equal to, let's say something low, like 50. I mean, it really depends upon the keywords, and then your date range. So, if you're going to do like daily and then over previous day, maybe you do like 10 impressions or 5 impressions. I mean, that's not very many at all. So, but, the larger the date range, the more impressions. So you want to say like, okay, any keywords that only got so many impressions, let's raise those bids. Or you'd want to, raise the bids to the top of page CPC, or raise bids to first page CPC. So, I mean, and this could be another way that you could see that the keyword is potentially not running. Now, obviously, if the keyword's disapproved, increasing the bid is not going to change that. James, he asked, like, how much would I bring in the client to help make these decisions? Well, I mean, at least if everything's set up correctly from the beginning, then you may not need them at all. But things like, you can actually crunch a lot of these numbers yourself, but, what are the most popular days of the week? What are the most popular hours of the day? And you can look at, all that data if it's set up properly. Now, if you don't have the value per conversion, then you would need to know, like, well, what's the average markup? Those are things that you should get from the very beginning anyways, but like I said, if you get set up from the beginning with all the information that you need, you should be able to make these assumptions yourself. Now, if it's an offline business and you don't have conversion tracking, then yeah, sure. I mean, you're going to have to get with the client. You're going to need to get a download of all the leads or how many phone calls they got, when they got those phone calls, to kind of do it in an offline manner. So Krista asked, which rules do I use in all my accounts? I use the rules with pausing keywords that have a low quality score, and I set that one to email me so that I can go look at those. And then I increase the max cost per click and decrease the max cost per click based upon either cost per conversion, conversion value divided by cost, or sometimes even average position, or even cost per click. So if maybe I'm targeting a $5 cost per click and lowering keywords that have a higher cost per click than that, but are above the third position. So they're in the number 1 or 2 positions and they're greater than $5. So I want to lower those. Those are the rules that I run. So Grant asks, is there a way to run rules in a specific order? And I think that's a great question. And I would think that the way that you would have to do that is you would have to change the times. So like if this rule runs Monday at 8 a.m., and then I have another rule that runs Tuesday and another rule that runs Wednesday, so on and so forth, then that's how you would do that. So once again, as long as I get set up properly from the beginning, I involve the clients little to none in this process, okay? I don't want to go to the client and say, hey guys, I'm going to set up this automated rule so I can, do all this work completely hands-off, and, what should I do, or whatever. Like, I don't even tell them that I'm running automated rules. This is how you perform the 4-hour work month. I mean, I think you guys can probably see right now how that's possible. Now, obviously, things like split testing ads, that's always going to be, always going to be something that takes time. I'm going to show you how to cut that time here tonight, but no, I don't talk to clients about automated rules. I don't think I've ever even shared with the client that we're doing any sort of automated rules. I'll talk to them about what their margin is, or what's their cost per conversion threshold. But I'm always working against the data. So if our current situation is a $100 cost per conversion, and next month I show them more conversions at $5 less, then I win. And then the following month, they're another $5 less and more conversions, or the same conversions, then I win. So I don't involve the clients at all with this. I just figure out what they need, what are their metrics, and but I don't communicate anything about automated rules. Krista, she asks if I have a client form to go through with the client, all the information you need, set up and make decisions. I have a pre-meeting checklist that I will, I'm still finishing up, that I'll get into the members area. But, I mean, basically, it's all general information. What are your business hours? What are you selling? What are you not selling? What's your average customer value? Things of that nature. So I'm trying to figure out how much I can spend. I need to know, can I spend $100 per conversion? Or if I do $100 per conversion, are they going to fire me? Do I need to be at $10 per conversion? So you always got to know your numbers. You need to know what their average customer value is. If you don't know that, then what are you working off of? That's how when I'm saying threshold, what's the cost per conversion threshold, that's how we come to that number. So we come to the threshold by, generally a customer is worth $500 to me, and it takes 5 leads to equal 1 customer. So if I spend $100 per lead, then we're breaking even. Rex says, use ACT for phone tracking. Works great. That's right, Rex. Thanks a lot. So once again, guys, I just went through and showed you the rules that I set up. The rules are going to be different for every account, depending upon the thresholds. Now, what I just showed you guys tonight is the best way to do it, with conversion value divided by cost. But you have to establish what the conversion value is. So if you have a lead form and somebody submits the lead form, what's that worth to the client? So on all the different conversion points that you have with your client, You have to get from them what's the value. If somebody downloads this white paper, what are you willing to pay for that? Is that worth $10 to you? Is that worth $5? If somebody submits a credit application, what's that worth to you? What are you willing to pay for that? That's how you determine that for all your different conversion points. So I just set up a big account for a car dealer, and they had like 10 different conversion actions. They've got live chat conversions, schedule a test drive, e-price, request a quote, car finder, I mean, you name it. And all these different things have different values. Now, they might not always know what the value is, and so you might just have to guess, because they might not know. I mean, but like, let's say for car finder, if you could say, well, how many times did people submit a car finder, and then how many times did people actually then buy a car that they had checked in on? Okay, well, it takes, for every 10 that submit the car finder, we sell one car. Okay, well, what do you generally make when you sell one car? And I have no idea, and I guess it depends on the car and the make maybe. But maybe they say, okay, well, $5,000. So then we know that we could spend $500 to get somebody to submit the car finder, because it takes 10, and 10 times 500 would be 5,000, and that's what we make. So if all the numbers stay the same, so you have to work all this stuff backwards. So you've got to know your numbers. That's crucial. Ron asked about taking into account the lifetime value of a paying customer. Absolutely. What's the customer value? And sometimes lifetime is too hard to gauge. Something that may be better would be like, what's that customer worth to you like this year? Or what's that customer worth to you over the next 6 months? Sometimes lifetime is really difficult for businesses to get at. But if you figure out that, hey, we did $300,000 of net profit last year, and we had 1,000 customers, then you know that your customer value is $300. So, but yes, I mean, in general, you want to know what's that customer value, because here's the thing is that different industries, you may not make money on the first sale. The first sale may be a loss leader, but I mean, look at like a pizza delivery place. Generally speaking, I mean that you keep ordering from the same pizza place as long as they do a good job, where the customer value is huge. Or look at like Publix or a grocery store, let's say. Generally you go to the same grocery store over and over and over. So your your lifetime customer value is huge. I mean, thousands of dollars. So yeah, you got to know your numbers. Randy says that was an excellent explanation. Thanks, Randy. All right, so let's keep moving. A lot of great questions, though. All right, so now let's take a look at making bulk changes using the AdWords interface. Okay, so these are all the things that you can change in bulk using the AdWords UI or user interface. So under campaign settings, you can, and once again, we'll jump into the live walkthrough and show you all this. And when I say bulk changes, what I mean is that you can set the location for one campaign, but let's say you have 50 campaigns to do this on, that you need to set the same exact location for all 50 campaigns. Well, instead of going in on each and every one and punching in the address and hitting save and doing all that, I'm going to show you how you can take the value from one and apply it to all of them. So you can do this for location, you can do this for language. the networks, so like the Google search network and the display network, devices, your budget, your daily budget, campaign end date, ad schedule. So with the ad scheduling, if you figure out that, hey, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. is the best time and I want to boost my bids, I'm going to show you how you only make the change on one campaign and then you can apply it to all the campaigns in one quick action. Delivery method, so accelerated or standard. And then ad rotation. Now we said our recommended setting for ad rotation was rotate, but let's say you pop in on an account and you see that it says optimize for clicks. Well, do you want to go and click on each of those campaigns and then set them all one by one? No, you want to do the bulk changes using the AdWords user interface. Okay, then ad groups. So these are all the things that you can change in bulk using the AdWords interface. So ad groups, you can change the status, so enabled or paused. You can change the default max cost per click. You can change the display network max cost per click. Basically, in the ad group settings, you can have a different bid or default bid for the display network than you do for the search network. And then max cost per call. So we talked about that in week 2 when we looked at ad extensions. And so that's something that you can implement throughout all your ad groups. Then keywords, status, enabled or paused, max cost per click. You can also pre-fill all your cost per clicks to the first page bid, which is really handy when you're first building an account. So you you can just put in a bid of a penny, and then it's going to tell you, oh, we need to bid $1.25 or something, and you can easily pre-fill all the cost per clicks. And then destination URL. That's something else too that you can change in bulk. So best practices, make sure that you don't lose your history. So whenever you're making changes, you have to be careful that you don't change something that's going to erase your history. So when you're working with an ad, anything that you change with an ad will cause you to lose your history, which is why you never want to edit an ad. You always want to create a new ad. And then if you want, just pause the old one. But you never want to edit an ad. And then for keywords, if you change the, obviously the keyword text or match type, that it's going to delete the existing history. So destination URL changes on the keyword level do not delete the history. And actually, this is huge. So let's say, for example, if you are, you have this AdWords account, and I mean, it's like running so awesome. You've had it up for 5 years, and then the client wants to change their website, and they want to update all their pages. Well, you can either clone all your ads and just pause the old ones and have your new ads with the new landing page, or what you can do is you can just change the destination URL on the keyword, okay? It's very important that that's on the keyword level. So on the keyword level, you actually have a destination URL, just like you do on an ad. And when you have a destination URL on the keyword level, it overrides the destination URL on the ad. But you can change that destination URL and even add it if it doesn't have it already, and it doesn't mess with the history. So if you ever want to change your landing page and not create new ads and not lose your history, then do that on the destination URL on the keyword level. Now, you'll probably have to select your columns and add the column for the destination URL in order to see it, but it's there. So, and as I mentioned already, changing anything on an ad erases the history. So something else too that I wanted to mention, it didn't really fit in very well, but that, just in like bulk changes with AdWords interface, you have something called negative keyword lists. And negative keyword lists are a great way to add several keywords, negative keywords, to multiple campaigns. So for example, for this auto dealer, I had a campaign, or actually an account for brand new cars. Well, what I did is I created a list of all the old years. So I basically went 2010, 2009, 2008, 2007, 2006, 2005, and I created this big keyword list. And I then said, apply this negative keyword list to all these campaigns. I'm going to show you in the walkthrough here in a second, but negative keyword list is a great time saver. So, and negative keywords, if you're not doing them, then you're cheating yourself. You want to make sure that you have a good amount of negative keywords. And just to give you an idea, for the car dealer, I did things, like I said, I mentioned old years. I wanted to make sure that my ads for new cars weren't showing up when somebody searched on a 2008. I excluded things like when people were searching for accessories or service. So if people were searching on, Honda Accord headlight, I don't want to show up for that. So I have a keyword list for parts and accessories, and then things that are in that list are like headlights, spoiler, floor mats, brush guard, whatever. But basically the list, and you can easily add those to multiple campaigns very quickly. So we're about to jump into the live walkthrough. Ron asks, any way to do bulk with each niche? I don't really understand what you're referring to there. So if you could clarify that, Ron, then I'll see if I can answer that. All right, so. All right, so campaign settings. So here's how you do it. All right, so let's say, for example, we're on our settings tab. So here's a good example. You'll notice that some of these are scheduled to run 92%, but then this one's scheduled to show all days and hours. And so is this one. And then we can also see that supplies has Google search, but all the other ones have search. Outdoor living is targeting all devices, but I probably want to just target computers, just like all the other ones. So it's really simple. Check this out. Now, if there's any additional settings, like we said, delivery method and ad rotation, let's go ahead and add those. Okay, so check this out. Optimize for clicks, optimize for clicks. And that's bad, right? We determined that we don't like that setting. Delivery method standard, standard, standard. Okay, so here's what you do, real simple. Click on that check mark, And whichever ones that you want to make changes to, you want to make sure are checked. And then whichever one you want to be like the master, you want checked. So I'm going to check this filters one because this one's all set up correctly. Standard, rotate, computers, search. So I want to change outdoor living, and now look at all these with optimized for click. So, oh no, that one's good. Okay, so these are all the ones that we want to change. Now let's see. Okay, yeah, so like these ones, I mean, it doesn't really matter because they're, excuse me, they're already set to what we want to have anyways. So, but here's all you do is you click edit. And now, as you hover over, you see that little thing? If I can't, there it is right there, boom. Copy to all rows. And so you'll notice that anything that you can bulk edit, it will show up. So language, location, networks, devices. So we can see here where it says all. Go up here to computers, because I don't want that to say all. I want to say computers. Click that, and then boom, it changed. Computers. I want to rotate for 90 days, and then optimize for clicks. Boom. Click that. Now they're all set. Let's see, what else do we need to do? Computers, search. Okay, let's just go ahead and set all of them to search. Location's good. I think that's it. And then you just click save. Okay, so this didn't like because the campaign's ended. Alright, so let's just cancel that for now. So it didn't like changing something on a campaign that ended, so we don't want to select those. But you guys get the idea. That's all you do. So then save, and then you can now see it's all computers. All the ones that I selected are all rotate. Where did my ad scheduling go? Oh, that's weird. Oh, it's blank. Here's my ad scheduling. So once again, uncheck the ones that are ended since Google doesn't like that. And I want all my campaigns to be the same exact. So I click edit, I come over here, and then I just click that. Save. It's as easy as that. So those are the campaign settings. We looked at all those. Ad groups. Now let's jump into ad groups. I mean, it's the same exact process though. It's so simple. So let's see how many ad groups. Now, one limitation of this is that it only works for whatever fits on the page. So you only have up to 500, and you can see we have 535. So we actually don't have all of them on this page, and it only works for what you can fit on the page. So let's just go ahead and select them all. Here, I'm going to run a filter that says that the status is not, let's see. Okay, so that's not working. Okay. So all these ones that say campaign ended, it's not going to like. But we'll just act like we're going to do it. So once again, if you wanted to, oh, I want to pause all my ad groups. Pause it, copy to all rows. Oh, you know what? $2.01, that's way too much. Let's do $1.51. Boom, copies all down. Display network. Oh, I'm deciding I want to run the display network, but I'm going to put a bid of $1. Now, I would, as you know, we wouldn't run this in the same campaign, but just for the sake of the thing, you can see automatically fills it. And then this particular account does not have the max CPP. Let's see actually if I can see it. I don't believe we have a call extension set up on this. So let's try this and see if that allows it. Yeah, so it's not allowing it. But basically with the max cost per call, you would see something like this, and you could just put in the price and move it down. So it's that simple. They all work the same exact way. And now let's look at keywords. Actually, too, on keywords, I want to show you another type. You can say edit in table, which is like this, which is basically like our default. Okay, or you can edit in spreadsheet. Okay, so it says we need to work with one campaign at a time. Okay, so I like the bigger zoom here. So obviously you could just do pause, and that's not going to change the history. And you could just easily copy that down with the spreadsheet. There's your first page CPC, destination URL, max CPC. Now, I've never tried this before because I don't generally use this particular view, but let's see if this works. So like max CPC equals first page CPC times 2. Okay, yeah, so it didn't like that. Okay, but you could copy all these into a spreadsheet and then paste them back in. But like I said, I don't generally use this view, but this is another option, and you can see all your different metrics. So I think that makes a little sense too there. Conversion value divided by cost. That's actually a percentage. So like 1%, or I'm sorry, 1 equals 100%. All right, so those are you know, the edits. Now let's take a look at the negative keyword lists. So obviously you've got ad group level and campaign level. So when you go to add the campaign level, you got keyword lists. So instead of just saying add keywords, let's say add keyword lists. Now we don't have any lists yet. So let's create and manage lists. And so this is what it looks like. So let's add a new list. So let's make one that's like refurbished / used. You know, I mean, we'd have to look at our data to see if anybody's even searching it this way, pre-owned. But refurbished, used, pre-owned, we don't want to sell that stuff. I don't know. Second-hand. But you get the idea. You create these certain types of lists with several keywords or many keywords. You click Save. Now watch this. Click on the check mark. Apply to campaigns. Let's just go ahead and add to the ones that are even paused. So that quick, we're adding all those negative keywords to all these to 13 campaigns. Save. We can see that this list has 5 keywords and it's in 13 campaigns. So yeah, so you get the idea. So let's take a look at some of our questions. Yuri asked, what's the recommended place for negative keywords, at the campaign level or ad group level? And it just really depends. It depends on how you have things set up. Sometimes it will not be appropriate to have it on the campaign level. Now, generally what makes sense for campaign level are like what we just did here. So I don't want any of my ad groups showing anything for refurbished or used. And that's when it makes sense to be on the campaign level. When it applies to every ad group in that campaign, then put it on the campaign level. So like another type of negative keyword list would be employment. So you could say employment, jobs, careers. Yeah, that should be good. So employment. I don't want my ad, if somebody's typing on some sort of career, I don't want that to apply to anything. So I want that in all of my campaigns. And I want that on the campaign level because none of my ad groups, that's not appropriate for any of my ad groups. So when you want something to affect all the ad groups, like something that's completely not relevant, then put it at the campaign level. When you want to like sculpt your ad groups to make sure that that you're not getting overlap, which we talked about in week 2. So you want to make sure that the keywords that are triggering the ads for that ad group remain constant and that they're not overlapping. So if, for example, if I have an ad group that says accurate TL, but then I have another ad group that says 2012 accurate TL. Well, I want to put a negative match for 2012 in my accurate TL ad group because I have a 2012 accurate TL. And if somebody types in 2012, then I want it to go to my 2012 ad group. So that's when you do the negative matches on the ad group level. To get to the shared library, you just click on this little thing that expands here on the left. But the way that I got to it was I was just here on the keywords, and then I just scrolled all the way to the bottom. See, now we can see the keyword lists. You'll notice that you can't do keyword lists on the ad group level. So Ron, I think when you're saying the niche, I think you're, I guess, referring to the location. So, for example, if so now this one's Canada, but I want it to say United States. So I click on the master and then the one that I want to change, click there, it just changes to United States. I click save, now it's back to United States. So it's that easy. Once again here, this one's like on Google search, so I'm going to click this one, and then I'm going to click, I got the one at the top that I'm going to use as the master. Punch that down, hit save. Oh yeah, that's one of the ones that's ended, so it didn't work. So yeah, it's very powerful because it's a pain in the neck when you do like the radius on the locations and things like that, and you jump in and you know, you want to just apply that to all your campaigns. If you're setting up exact match, Mike asks, if you're setting up exact match, do you need negative keyword lists? And the answer is no. So if you are only using exact, then you do not need negative keywords. And that's actually a big reason why this particular account does not have very many negative keywords. It's because most of the keywords are exact. Yeah, so if you're using exact, you wouldn't need negatives unless you have the setting to include the close variants. So keyword matching options include plurals, misspellings, and other close variants. So in week 2, we learned that exact match is no longer exact with this particular setting. So you may want negative matches with this setting. You may discover that, you know what, pond pumps work really good, are very profitable, but pond pump does not. So then you'd want a negative match, and you have an exact match for pond pumps, but because of this setting here, where it's going to include plurals, misspellings, and close variants, then you could actually need a negative match. All right. So let's now jump into AdWords Editor. So let's talk about cloning. So it's very easy to clone campaigns using AdWords Editor. Now, between what we're learning with the bulk changes on the UI and AdWords Editor, I mean, you guys are going to be able to jump in and do a lot of damage real quick and you know, do a lot of great stuff. So you can easily clone entire campaigns or ad groups. So what you want to do is get one campaign perfect with all the appropriate settings, you know, meaning the location. You could even set up all the ads, all the keywords, I mean everything. All the site links, location extensions, call extensions, everything. You get it all set up. And then we're going to clone the entire campaign, which is more than just the campaign. It's going to be the campaign, the ad groups, the keywords, and the ads. And all you're going to do is copy and paste it back into AdWords Editor. And once you paste it, then all you're going to need to do is rename it. It's so simple, it's so fast, and when we do the live walkthrough, you'll see. So advanced bid changes. You can easily increase or decrease bids, and You can easily raise your bids to the first page bid estimate. And something that I like to do is if I'm setting everything up in an AdWords editor, I may raise the bids to the first page bid estimate and then increase it by a certain %. So I think like I tried to do in the spreadsheet view, where I was going to multiply the first page bid estimate by 2. So you can easily do that here. Okay, then replace text. These are all very powerful features. So you can quickly and easily make massive changes, but 9 times out of 10, you want to make sure that you check mark duplicate matching items and replace text in duplicates. What that's going to do is that's going to duplicate what you're going to replace, and then it's going to replace it in that newly created thing so that you're not changing your existing stuff. So it'll probably make more sense when we actually do a live walkthrough. Append text. So replace text is like a find and replace. I want to change this word and I want to make it this word. Append text allows you to either place something before the text or after text. So if you want to place something in the beginning, then you do before text. If you want to place something at the end, after text. And something that's important to mention on replace text and append text is that the options where it says in this column, right now it says destination URL. Well, those options change depending upon which tab you're on. So if you're on the keywords tab, then you're going to have a different set of options. If you're on the ads tab, then it's going to be things for ads. So like this one could be on the ads tab. So it would say like headline, description line 1, description line 2, display URL, or destination URL. And then change text capitalization. So Google calls it title case. We've been calling it camel case, where the first letter of every word is capitalized. They then also give you the option of sentence case, which is the first word in the sentence. So I suppose maybe you might use that on descriptions or something, but I generally use the title case or camel case. And then also lowercase. So here, let's do it like this. There, lowercase. So once again, we talked about split testing ads, and like something to try would be camel case or title case. So what this is going to allow you to do is if you've got 1,000 ads that aren't title case, then you can jump in and quickly, easily duplicate those ads, change them to title case, and now you've got a bunch more ads. So best practices. Like I said, 9 times out of 10, you want to duplicate selected and apply changes to, so you don't lose your history. Also, too, what Google AdWords Editor will do sometimes is that if you don't select that, like and you're working with ads, instead of changing the ad, it actually deletes the ad. So 9 times out of 10, you want to make sure that you have that checked. And then you also want to double check before you post. So when you're using AdWords Editor, you could make 1,000,000 changes, but if you haven't posted it yet, you can go back in time, so to speak, and get rid of those changes. If you created 1,000 campaigns before you post, you can go in and delete those campaigns, and then they're gone forever. But if you post, then you're going to see it in your account. So you want to make sure that you double check everything looks good before you post. And then you want to filter on what you want to change using the advanced search. So the advanced search, so generally you can either like select things or you could just select all. But usually what's best to do is to do an advanced search filter and say, show me all the ads that have this word, or show me all the keywords that have this word, or whatever, or show me all the ads that have this description line 1, and then it's going to filter it so you only see those things. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this. So I purposely did not download Google AdWords Editor. I actually use it on a server. So in any event, but I wanted to show you where to get it. Just do a search for Google AdWords Editor, and then I'm just going to go ahead and download it. So I figured this might be helpful to show you from A to Z with getting set up with it. Cliff asks, doesn't some of these options affect history? Not if you are duplicating it. So you have 10 ads in your account and you want to change description line 1. If you duplicate, select it, and apply changes to, it's going to create a new ad, and then it's going to make the change there, and then save it. So you're going to go from 10 ads to 20 ads. So it's not going to affect the history. But when you don't check that, it will. Okay, so you can see here some terms of service from Google. You got to scroll all the way down to the bottom. Default targeting, United States. I don't know, I always disable usage tracking. I don't like things going on in the background. Ron asked, why do I have editor on a server? I have it on a server so that if, with the idea that the server is going to be more stable than my computer. Now, I mean, granted, I have a RAID array, so hopefully if anything were to go wrong, then I should be able to recover that. But that's the reason I use it on there, so that if my computer crashes, then I can still use AdWords Editor. All my stuff is there. Now, obviously, if my server crashes, then that's another story. Okay, so now you can see we've got AdWords Editor installed, and the interface is very similar to the Google AdWords user interface. First thing you got to do is add an account. So, for example, if let's see, which account am I going to work with? You can add an MCC account. And then it gives you the options of which ones that you want to pull in. So I'm going to keep continuing to work with the same one here. So now it's going to take a second to download all of the campaigns, ad groups, keywords, ads, etc. Okay, download complete. So you can see 14 campaigns, 237 ad groups, 712 keywords, text ads, 653. Okay, so close. So I'm going to go ahead and all right. All right, so this was the same count that I was working in. All right, so cloning. Just go ahead and get this. Okay. So let's take a look here. So computers. Also, too, if you want to add columns, that's where you do it right here. All right, so all of these campaigns are set for the device computers. So let's say I want to make a mobile campaign, because the recommended way to do it is to have the devices segmented in their own campaigns. So I'm on the Campaigns tab, and I'm clicking on Lighting, and then I'm just going to hit Control-C, or for the sake of the visual here, I'll just, can right-click and hit Copy. And then I can just click down here in this empty space and right-click and hit Paste. Now you'll notice that it pops up this error, and it's because it has the same name as another campaign. That was our first thing to do, was to rename it. So then I'm just going to type in mobile, and then I'm going to go right here to devices where it says computers, and I'm just going to check on mobile devices, uncheck desktop and computers, and hit OK. And that's it. It's as simple as that. So like if you want to see under ad groups, you can see all of the same ad groups are all there. All the ads are there. And so are all the keywords. So it's that simple. Go back to campaigns. I'm now on Lighting Mobile. Well, I'm going to copy that again, paste it, and now I'm going to change this one to tablet. It's that easy. So I just showed you one campaign, but let's copy all these. So I Control-C to copy, and then Control-V. And you can see all these new campaigns were selected. So they're already selected. So I can change all of them at once. Mobile. So now you see where that mobile devices just changed. Now they're all still selected. So let's see here. Oh, this is why. No. Okay, there it was. So you see here how this scroll bar, because I don't have it maximized for the whole screen, I can scroll down and I see replace text, append text, change text capitalization. So I'm going to do append text, And you see in this column, campaign name, after existing text, space, hyphen, mobile. So all these campaign names are going to change to mobile now. So you see it did all of those at once. Now these are all my mobile campaigns. Okay, so we've got 2 lighting mobile, so I'm going to just go ahead and delete that one, and you'll see it disappear. Okay, so this one doesn't contain any ads, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. But now what we can do is I can copy all those. Now this one's actually tablet, so I don't want that one. So you can just click, and then you can shift click to select all those. But then I don't want this one selected, and I can control click that. So I hold down control, and then I click it, and it unselects it. So now you can see I've got all the mobile ones selected. So now I'm going to do Control C to copy, and Control V. So it automatically highlights all the ones that I just pasted. And now what I'm going to do is replace text, because these are now duplicates of these up here, which is why that red thing is there. And then I'm going to say change mobile, find mobile, and change it to tablet. Boom, it changed it to tablet. Now I haven't changed these to tablet yet, so I'll go ahead and do that in the devices. Boom, and then now it's tablets. So very quickly and easily, I just tripled the number of campaigns. So that's cloning. Now let's look at advanced bid changes. So I'm going to go ahead and select the Keywords tab. And, okay, so Keywords. And let's go ahead. And so, like, for example, we can see here that this keyword, how to build koi pond filter, first page bid estimate is $6. It's because I got a really low quality score. Now that one should probably be paused, but then this one you can see quality score of 3, first page bid estimate 375, and I got a bid of $1.51. So let's go ahead and select all those and then click Advanced Bid Changes. So if we say raise keyword maximum CPC bids to their first page bid estimates, it should only do that on the ones that are below. So, I mean, just to double check. Yeah, so I mean, this one's 201 and it's $1. So 2,000 changes, apply. Okay, and then boom, we see right there exact match, or I'm sorry, first page bid estimate $6, and now my max CPC is $6. Same for this one, 375, now 375. And you can see that these that were $1 and this one was 201, it's still 201. Remember, Google likes making more money. So they're not going to lower, if you have a, with doing that setting, when you have a higher than first page bid estimate, you say raise it to the first page bid estimate, if it's already above it, they're not going to lower it to that, because then they'd make less money. Now what we want to do is we only want to work with the things that we just changed. So if we click this little change status, okay, so a bunch of these are the ones that we added. What happened? Okay, so most of these are from the new campaigns that we just added. So let's go ahead and look at, see, these are the ones that we want to select. But let's say, for example, if we wanted to only increase the bids on these because it's equal to the first page bid estimate. So we've selected what we want to work with, advanced bid changes, now increase by 50%. Now our bid goes to $9, from $6 to $9. So those are advanced bid changes. Just take a look at some of the other settings. Top of page bid estimates. If, let's say, you want to remove all the keyword level bids so that you're just working with the ad group, the default ad group level bid, then you can do that. It'll take out all the things. You can also just select them all and then change it right here. Like if I wanted to, right here where it says max CPC bid varies, I can just delete that and then now they're all gone. And now see how it's like grayed out? It's now at the ad group level. But I can put it all back by just not posting. Let's see, I think, okay, so there we go. Let's see. Okay, so that's going to revert all of the changes, it looks like. So I just selected everything and then hit Control Z to go back, to revert. Let's just go ahead and do it for the exercise. So now we're back to $6. So once again, advanced bid changes, you want to make sure that you have everything selected that you want. Also to advanced search, if we only wanted to work with keywords that contain the word pump. You can see here it's very extensive, keyword count even. So you can only work with keywords that are 2 words or 3 words. Keyword contains pump. You can then save this search for reuse and say, you can say contains, or you can say keyword contains pump. And then search. And now all these keywords contain the word pump. So if I just decided I only want to work with these, and you can see it up here in the view. So if you ever like how do I get out of this? You just then select it to all. It goes right back. Control pond algae. That doesn't contain pump. View. Keyword contains pump. Boom. Select all. Advanced bid changes. Let's raise it up to the top of page bids. Okay, so it did it. Now let's look at, so we looked at replace text. Let's look at ads actually. All right. So we can see here that description line 2, all these contain free shipping on all orders. Or most of them do. Alright, so let's see, how many... Okay, you can see down here at the very bottom, we've got 2,146 ads. So I'm just going to go ahead and select them all, and then I'm going to say replace text. Now remember, we're on the ads. So when I said you're going to learn how to write thousands of ads in minutes, this is what it is right here. Replace text. So I'm going to say description line 2, because that's what that is right there. Free shipping on all orders. Now I didn't really have to keep the case exactly the same since I didn't have match case. And let's go ahead and say order today and get free shipping. Let's go ahead and change that to an ampersand so that hopefully don't run out of, hopefully this isn't greater than 35 characters. Actually, let's do this. Get free shipping today only. And then remember, you want to make sure that you duplicate matching items and replace text in duplicates. So all the ads that contain free shipping on all orders in description line 2, we're going to create a duplicate ad, and then description line 2 is going to change get free shipping today only. Click Find Matches. So we see that there's 1,050 ads that match that. And then we're going to say duplicate and replace all. Okay, it's already done. So notice down here now, it says 3,196. And they should be at the bottom, yeah, it's right here. So here's all of our ads now. Get free shipping today only. So there's all those ads. So that's replace text. So we looked at, let's see. Let's just go ahead and then do one. Change text capitalization. So description line 2, we're going to change it to sentence case. Duplicate selected rows and apply changes to duplicates. Now we're going to have like 6,000 ads. See, now we've got 6,000 ads. Okay, we talked about display URL, trying it with and without www. So let's do that one. Replace text. Display URL. www dot, we're going to replace it with nothing. Now we've got 12,000 ads. So there's all of our new ads. So it looks like fiber optic pond lighting. So let's just click on one of these. So there's all of our ads now. Now that's a lot of ads for one ad group, but for the sake of the exercise, you can see that here's all the ones with the display URL for www. Now here's all the ones that don't contain the triple dub. We've got get free shipping today only. And then here's our sentence case. Free shipping on all orders. We can see that there's no, we had it camel case before, or title case. Now it's only the first word in that sentence. So, I mean, you can see how quickly we ramped up our ads. So this is what you want to do for clients when you're split testing. Try a couple different descriptions and or display URLs. You see how we quickly just tested 2 different display URLs. I mean, without doing it this way, I mean, you would like kill yourself. All right, so Krista asks, where do I spend most of my time in Google AdWords making changes and setting up automated rules or an AdWords editor? When I'm creating ads, I'm spending time in AdWords editor. When I'm optimizing the account, I'm spending time in the AdWords interface. I'm making automated rules, I'm checking my rules, that sort of thing. So I use AdWords interface for optimization and AdWords editor for mostly for building an account from scratch, you know, with setting things up, or when I'm creating multiple ads for split testing. Yes. Krista asks, does the advanced URL changes in AdWords editor remove the history? It definitely will if it's for an ad. So if you're changing it for an ad, then it will. If it's doing something for a destination URL on the keyword level, then it will not. So all of the same rules apply, guys. There's nothing different here. All right, so any other changes, or I'm sorry, questions on AdWords editor? All right, great. Rex says he's not sure how there could be. That's good. I guess I'm doing a good job here. All right, so we're not completely done with AdWords editor yet. Because we still haven't covered bulk imports with spreadsheets. So I promise to keep moving on this, guys. I know it's getting late. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. We're going to cover the bulk imports with spreadsheets, and that is also using AdWords editor, and then I'm going to jump into the remarketing. So, all right, so here's what I do. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and I opened up Excel, but an easy way to do it is that when you set it up yourself, when I set it up, this is what I do. Campaign, ad group, keyword, headline, description 1, description 2, display URL, destination URL. So I'm just going to name this new campaign. Now, what you can also do too is, let me just move this out of the way real quick, is here I'm on keywords. So I just showed you the format, and it's super simple. But if you want to do, I mean, if we did Control A, okay, so there's only 41 keywords, so that's not bad. So you just select everything, or you can just even select one row. But if you select everything and hit Control C to copy, I'm going to pull it back over into my spreadsheet, and now just select that and Control V. So you can see that's like exactly like the same format that I just set up. So campaign, ad group, keyword. Now, I don't do this. I do this on my own manually, but you can also put the match type. So I usually do all that manually, but you can do the match type. You can also put in what you want as your max cost per click. But I usually do that either through the advanced bid changes or just on the ad group level. And then I'm just going to show you too when we do ads. Same thing here. So I selected them. I did Control C to copy, Control V to paste. And you can see it's the same format: campaign, ad group, headline, description, description line 1, 2, display URL, destination. Now then you've got, like, you know, whether or not it's active or paused or whatever. So you can see how simple it is. So new campaign, new ad group, new keyword, headline, description 1. All right, I'll tell you what, I'll just put something in here so we don't confuse. With the destination URL, you want to make sure that you include HTTP. You don't need to include that, obviously, on the display URL, but you want to make sure that you include that there. All right, so you can see that I've got campaign, ad group, keyword, headline, description. So I kind of have a mix here. I have a keyword, which is we have different tabs. We have the keywords tab and we have the ads tab. So it's real simple though. So you're just going to go ahead and copy the whole thing, including the headers. So copy that. We're then going to jump over to keywords. And now you notice that there's no campaign that says new campaign. If there was a campaign that was named new campaign, then it would just insert this keyword into that campaign. So I'm on the keywords tab. Just go ahead and select all since we're not looking at anything special. Keywords, make multiple changes. Add, update multiple keywords. Then you want to make sure that this is checked. My keyword information below includes columns for campaign and ad group names. Then I just check down here, paste that in, process. You can already see over here in the green where it says new campaign, it just added a new campaign. And what I like to do is click back and then check the mappings. So you notice that this is the stuff for the ads. Well, I'm on the keywords tab, so it's not importing that. Now, it's trying to import my destination URL, which I want for my ad, into the destination URL for keywords. So I'm going to say do not import. So I've got campaign, ad group, keyword. Okay, process, finish. So click on my new campaign. I'm already on the keywords tab, and I see there it is right there. It says new keyword. Now, all I need to do, I don't have to copy again. All I'm going to do is click on Ads tab and click Make Multiple Changes. Add, update multiple text ads. I'm going to then check my text ad information below includes columns for campaigns and ad group names. Paste in the exact same thing that I just had. Process. Then click back just to double check to make sure everything is kosher here. Campaign, ad group, it's not importing the keyword because you'll see that it can't import the keyword because there is no keyword option. Because I'm on the ads tab. So we've got headline, description line 1, description line 2, display URL, destination URL. Yep, everything looks good. Process. Finish. And there we are. You can see the information here. This is the headline, description line 1, 2, display URL, destination URL. So it's that simple. So this is really helpful when you're working in the style of like an e-commerce site, or let's say for my auto dealership. I can say, okay, my campaign is Acura, and then I have TL, and then I have TSX, and then RL, MDX. Then if I want to say, I'm just going to show you guys something, some fancy work here, we can then say, okay, I want my keyword to be comprised of these two. So I'm going to say equals, quote, plus sign, because I'm going to do a modified broad match, end quote, ampersand, Acura. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit enter so you can see what that does. So now it has plus Acura. So let's go ahead and add more to it. And quote, space, plus, quote, ampersand, click on TL. Boom, now I've got modified broad match keywords that I'm making from my spreadsheet. I'm now going to do a headline of new Acura and TL. Same thing too for description line 1. I'm going to say equals, quote, huge selection of huge selection of Acura TLs. Schedule your test drive today. Now, I didn't dynamically insert anything onto that. display URL, and then destination URL, and then I would just copy the same thing like I did on the last one, and then what it would do is it would automatically create these ad groups for me. So when you're doing something that shows a pattern, you know, make, model. So these are make, model. That's my keywords. That it's great to use a spreadsheet like this to do the bulk import. So anybody have any questions on that? All right, great. Thanks, Rex. Rex says I'm a machine. All right, so let's jump into our last section, which is remarketing. So this is really exciting. Any of you that saw one of our case studies, we increased leads by about 72% in the first month just by adding remarketing, and then another 64% in the second month, all just by adding remarketing. Real quick, Cliff, can you clarify? I guess that X needs understanding of spreadsheets. I don't understand the question. I mean, understanding of spreadsheets, I guess, I mean, basic. Spreadsheets are just rows and columns. In terms of like the fancy stuff I did here, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I just was using the concatenation. Google Spreadsheets also gives you that. But if you just do, what's really cool about Excel, I mean, if you just do a Google search for Excel functions, that you'll see these things. But like, you know, for example, like, you know, this is another one, lower. If I wrap it in lower, boom, it automatically lower cases everything. But if you just do Excel functions, then yeah. But yeah, I mean, you don't need to have you know, much experience with spreadsheets, but it definitely helps, especially when, you know, doing it like how I did it here. So, all right, so remarketing. So what is it? So have you ever been to a site and then all of a sudden you started seeing banner ads all over the place for them? Have any of you guys seen that before? All right, great. Getting a lot of yeses. So with remarketing, you can target people that have already visited your website, YouTube channel, Facebook tab, or even an email blast. We call it the invisible list. It helps you stay engaged with your audience, and as I mentioned before, your ad follows your audience around the internet to as many different sites as you want to show them. So that's what remarketing is. So how does it work? Well, it works very similar to Google Analytics. And what I mean by that is that you install some JavaScript code on your website, similar to just like how you do for Google Analytics. So you insert JavaScript code, it drops a cookie on their device, and then these websites or ad platforms detect when they see that cookie, and then they show your ad. It's very powerful stuff. So here are a couple different strategies that you can use for remarketing. You can set audiences for people that visited a certain section of your website. So maybe a certain category page. So like, for example, we were looking at the pawn supplies niche a minute ago, and we're looking at the pumps. So we could say, we could create an audience for every user that visited the pumps pages. You can also target people that have an abandoned shopping cart. So if you don't know what that means, it's basically somebody that went to your website, probably an e-commerce website, they added something to their cart, and then they never continued with the purchase. You can also target specific product pages. So if you have a real hot product, I mean, let's say, for example, Amazon, the Kindle. So anybody that visited the Kindle page, and then you could mix this with by creating a custom list, which we'll talk about. But what you could do is you could say, I want to create an audience for people that visited a Kindle page but didn't buy it, and I want to keep showing them ads for Kindle and tell them how great it is, and show them, you know, oh, all their friends are using it. Subscription upgrades. So if you're running some sort of membership site and you have different levels of membership, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and somebody's a bronze member, well, then you could tag them and show them ads to try to get them to increase their subscription. And then also related products. So that's more of a strategy with the banners. So if somebody that visited a Kindle page, well, actually maybe if, let's say somebody visited the Kindle page and actually they bought the Kindle, then maybe you show them ads or banners for a Kindle case or cover or something. Or maybe even Kindle ebooks. So they bought the Kindle, but they haven't bought any ebooks yet, and maybe you show them ads for ebooks. So those are some different strategies. So here are best practices. So banners. Banners is obviously a huge part of this. So you want to make sure that you have a call to action in your banner. You probably want to have some sort of a button that maybe says like click now or subscribe now or get it now or whatever, which is, you know, it's also a call to action. You want to make sure that you have branding in place on that, because remember, these people have already visited your website, and by them, just like that first example that I gave, like have you ever been to a website and then you started seeing a bunch of banners? Well, the reason that you knew that was because there were banners for that site. So you want people to understand that, you know, this is something that they've already been to, or this is something that they're interested in. So you want to have some sort of branding in place. And then you want to make sure that you have several banners in all sizes and with slight variations. So one of the most common questions is like, what's the best banner size? And generally speaking, the larger banners tend to work better, but it's different for every niche, and it's different for every website. Every website will show different size banners. So, you know, there might be a great site and it only shows one size banner, and if you don't have that size, then you're not going to show up there. So you want to have all the different sizes, and you want to have slight variations. So by slight variations, I mean, hey, on this one the text is red, and on this one the text is yellow, and then this one the text is orange, or this one the button is yellow, on this one the button is green. And maybe this one has a picture of a guy, this one has a picture of a girl, and this one has a picture of a guy and a girl. not going crazy with drastically different banners, but just slight variations. And the reason you do that is that you want to have all those out there and you want to review them and see which ones have the highest click-through rate. Because generally speaking, you can run this on a cost per click basis. I recommend setting it on a CPM basis. And so you're not actually paying for clicks, you're paying for impressions. So you want a lot of click-throughs. And generally speaking, the higher your bid, the better sites that you're on. So if you bid 10 cents or 15 cents, you might get some impressions and you might show up somewhere. But I mean, this is Google's bargain. These are the bargain sites. These are the sites that really nobody wants to be on, and so Google puts you there. So when you bid higher, you get on better sites. If you want to show up on CNN and maybe the Wall Street Journal and those types of things, then you have to bid higher. So you also want to create several lists with different durations. So maybe you have an abandoned shopping cart list. Well, you want to have an abandoned shopping cart list for people that have abandoned within 7 days. Now, granted, for an abandoned shopping cart, 90 days is probably too long, but and especially too if you're a large website where you're getting 1,000 abandoned carts per day, let's say, well, maybe you even want to trim it down even less. Maybe you want to have it be 3 days. But you want to have lists with different durations. So 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And then you want to create custom combination lists. So remember when I said that you're tagging people that visited the Kindle page, which is a product page, and then you're also tagging them or when they bought. So when you create a custom combination list, what you would do is you would say, include all the people that visited my product page, and then exclude everyone that bought. Because if they already bought, you don't want to show your ad to them. So you create what's called a custom combination list. We're going to take a look at this in a second. And then larger audiences tend to work best. So if you're only tagging like 100 or less people, then don't have too high of expectations to get a lot of impressions. So the larger the audience, the better results you're going to have. And when I say the better results, I mean in getting traffic. Now, you want to make sure that your list is targeted enough so that, because a bad audience, like traffic that didn't convert or bad traffic, if you're tagging bad traffic, it's always going to be bad traffic. But you want to look for the people that were engaged in your site and almost bought, but then maybe didn't buy, or visited, a couple key pages or something. But you want to have larger audiences. Your audience should hopefully be in the thousands. So if you have less than 1,000 or 100 or less, that don't expect a lot of impressions with this. And I believe that Google has a minimum of 100 users for an audience. That's the minimum. So let's go ahead and jump in and see where this is. Okay, so once again, we're going to go over here, expand this little thing over here on the side, and we're going to go to our shared library. And now you'll see here where it says audiences, and you go ahead and click that. So this is what it looks like. Bring your site visitors back with remarketing. Now also too, Google calls it remarketing. Other companies call it retargeting. So remarketing, retargeting, pretty much the same thing. So Google gives you this remarketing code to add to your entire site. Now, let me tell you what. This just got way easier because up until like, I don't know, 2 months ago, you had to install a different tag on every page that you wanted to tag. And so it was, basically you couldn't, it wasn't like Google Analytics, where with Google Analytics, you put the code and it goes on every page and it's easy. Well, in the past, you would have to you would have a different code for every list. So every list would have a different tag, a different code. So you'd have to install all these different codes. So it'd say, oh, this code goes on this category page and this code needs to go on this product page. Whereas now they've made it way easier. So you just install this one code on all of your pages. And then the way that you refine it is like this. It's just like doing a custom segment in Google Analytics. So now you've got your code installed, and I'm going to say URL contains, let's just say, confirmation. Because I know that when somebody completes an order on my site, that the final page is this confirmation page, that it contains confirmation. So I'm going to set this to, so let's see, well, how do I want to use this? Like, what am I doing? So let's actually do the abandoned cart one. So I'm going to say cart. And let's go ahead and keep it for 30 days. So remarketing list name, add to cart. So there's our main list where it says tag based. And now as long as this tag that you can get right here, once again, just click it there. As long as this tag is on every page, is on this cart page, the URL has cart in the URL, it's going to start filling up that audience. So now what I want to do is I'm going to create another list, and I'm going to say contains confirmation. Remarketing list name, order complete. Save. I can't even tell you guys how much easier this is with these filters on the URL. It's so much better. So now we've got one list where people that completed an order, and now we have another list of people that added to the cart. So now what we want to do is a custom combination. And we're going to name this abandoned, can't spell, abandoned cart. Now both of these lists are 30 days, so any of these audiences, okay, so any of these audiences, so I'm going to go ahead and select that. And then hit that drop down and hit remarketing lists. So abandoned cart. So anybody that hit the add to cart page, click OK. So any of these audiences, so people that added to cart, and then add another, and none of these audiences. So now we've got abandoned cart. Now this custom combination is going to queue off of these membership durations. So we've got abandoned cart and added to cart, any of these audiences, so anybody that added to cart and nobody that bought. So we're excluding people that completed the order. So this is only going to show us people that added something to the cart and didn't buy. And then we hit save. So you'll notice that the membership duration there does not allow us to change that. Now, a lot of times, like what I like to do is to do this. Is I'll add the duration in the name. So add to cart 30 days, order complete 30 days, abandon cart 30 days. But if I wanted to make a new list, then I could just do the same thing. I think I said cart. And then I could say 7 days. Added to cart 7 days. New audience, remarketing list, confirmation, 7 days, order complete, 7 days. I mean, this is, putting these different durations is kind of the biggest pain that you have to do now. But it's really simple because you only have to drop one tag. But in the past, you had to drop all these different tags. So now we've got abandoned cart 30 days. So now let's do a new custom combination. Abandoned cart 7 days. None of these audiences. So we want to include people that added to the cart within the past 7 days. And then order complete within past 7 days. So everyone that's added to the cart and no one that's actually bought and saved. And so then, boom, now we've got a couple custom lists. We've set up some different remarketing lists, and we set up 2 different custom combinations. And you see how easy it is here, where now all you need to do is put the URL. So now what's interesting too is you could say does not equal or does not contain. If you had like a small website, but you could do something like category name. So anybody that visited our, if this was like our locksmith example, automotive page. So that's it, guys. That is all I have for you. So anybody have any questions on anything that we covered tonight? So Yuri asked, for banners, don't you want to test with clicks with CPC first and then move to CPM? I always start with CPM because I feel like I'm able to kind of get more with CPM. Like for example, I know that if I put like a $10 CPM, that's usually like really high, and that my ad's going to show up. but a lot of times if you put like $1 cost per click, you might not get traffic. So by all means, when you're starting out, maybe start with the cost per click model, but I always do CPM. Okay, so Pat asks on remarketing, where do you put in the banner images? So let's see here. So I'm going to create a new So you see here, I selected a display network. Campaign, and it automatically brings me to my remarketing lists. So let's just say I want these two. And now you'll get stats on these different lists. So you'll see that, oh wow, you know, the 7-day one is converting, you know, I'm only spending $5 per conversion, and I'm spending $15 per conversion on the 30-day. So you see it's real simple. Now they automatically put in here for text ads, but if you do image ads, you then do that. Here's all the different sizes that you have available, and you just choose the file. It has to be under 50K or 50K for it to work. And what I want to show you guys is that actually when I'm doing remarketing, I always do it in AdWords Editor. So if let's say this was my campaign, I got image ad selected, add update multiple images. Okay, so this is not there. But basically all you do is you browse, and then let's say all these were images. That just scared me. My computer went dead for a second, or my monitor went dead. I thought my computer crashed again. But basically, let's say these were images. You could select them like that and hit open. And I guess maybe because none of these are the right size, but basically that's how I always do it. So I select a folder with like 10 images and bring them in. Let me just close this down. Let me show you what I'm talking about here real quick. I think maybe because this isn't a display network campaign that I don't have like a submit button, but normally there would be a submit button here. So you just browse for your images and load them up like this, and then you change all the display URLs and destination URLs in bulk. Because you know, you see all the different sizes, and I recommend doing all of them, that to do all these one by one would kind of stink. So you do that in the AdWords editor. Thanks a lot, Ron. Says this has been great, and I'm a great teacher, so I appreciate that. So Yuri says that he keeps seeing Netflix banners all the time, yet he's already a subscriber. Has Netflix lost their mind, or are they just that Google doesn't give them this info? Depending upon, it's probably that they're just not doing the custom combinations. So they're just not doing it right. So Rex says he's thoroughly enjoyed this. He's going to stick with lead gen. But Rex, I mean, all this stuff, you know, with all this, it's not necessarily PPC for clients. It's just PPC. So for lead gen, you can you know, do a lot of lead gen with PPC. We've generated hundreds of appointments per day with using PPC for lead gen purposes. So this is definitely to be used with that. Exactly, Yuri. So he says Netflix is a prospect. Exactly. So any other questions on remarketing? So Krista asks, is there an easy way to resize all the ads? And not really, but the easiest way is to use this display ad builder. So Google gives you these things. You can change the image. So you can upload an image, you can move it, you can change the headline, and then it does it in all the different sizes. So this is the easiest way to kind of get started with different banner ads in all different sizes. But you'll, like, here's the thing you'll notice. We got an image, we got headline, and then learn more. There's that button. You'll notice all of these have a button. So there, that's something wild. So your ads could look like that, but they all have enter site. Animations. So that's the easiest way, the display ad builder for multiple sizes. It's not perfect. You kind of have to move some stuff around at times, but that's the best. All right, so so I want to show you guys something. You probably have seen this. Who do we have that's still on that?
Welcome to localkeyworddigger.com.
Who do we have that's already joined the local keyword digger as well as Offliners Elite? All right. Okay, I got quite a few. Got it. Got it. Me. All right. All right, great. So then we're getting questions about what is Offliners Elite. So let me just jump in here too. Okay, so this is the home page, but there's nothing there yet, as you can see. Let me just jump in here into the back office. Okay. All right. So a lot of people have been asking. You know, obviously this is our fourth and final week of the PPC Experts Academy, and you've seen how long the webinars have gone. I've tried to cover as much content as fast as I possibly could in an easy, digestible manner, but you know, things are always changing. And you know, there's even more that we could cover. We haven't gone over doing things like video campaigns, shopping results. We haven't really dived too deep into the display network, but you know, we've covered what most people will use, and very you know, pretty diverse for what most people will use for offline purposes. But for those of you that want to keep going, basically what we're doing is we've come out with what we call Offliners Elite. And Offliners Elite is basically our catch-all monthly group. So what you get with Offliners Elite is 2 trainings every month. It's probably going to be one from myself, and actually I should say 2 live trainings. 2 live trainings a month. From probably one will be from myself, and then the other will be from my business partner, Joe Troyer. So, all right, I get a lot of questions on everybody's chomping at the bit, so I like it. I like it. People asking, what is in Offliners Elite? Yes, there's already content. So I'm getting to everything. So let me just get to it here. So Offliners Elite, you're going to get 2 live webinar trainings per month, and I'm going to cover things like PPC and Google Analytics and reporting. So, you know, like somebody mentioned tonight about me working with Excel. I might even do something on Excel. Basically, I am the real analytical person, and Joe is more so of like the sales type person. And like, for example, here's Joe's first training, Millionaire Mindset. He's got a success formula workbook. So you can see here we've got action steps. Whoops, I didn't want to close that. Then we've got a commitment contract. So, you know, to make sure that you, you know, carry out this stuff, I will write down my big why. I will follow my action plan. I mean, basically, this is us trying to help you in your business. It's not just PPC. This is pretty much everything. So this is going to be sales training. This is going to be pay-per-click training. I've got my first training in here, which is the Google Analytics hack, goal tracking with custom segments. You can see here I've got one video, which is like kind of like the same format that we have been doing with the PPC Experts Academy, where we have one portion that is the PowerPoint, and then another portion, the live walkthrough. You can see they're each 5 minutes, and this is just these are just the first ones. So every single month we'll be doing 2 live trainings, and then I'm pretty certain we'll be doing the also Q&A sessions. So basically, whatever you want to ask us. So yeah, so like right here, we've got our first live training is going to be this week on Thursday, and I'm pretty certain that we've got David Sprague on for this one. So the live training may not necessarily be myself or Joe. It may be us hosting it and then bringing somebody in to help you. Any of you that are also a part of the local lead generation explosion, you know that, I mean, pretty much, I think every week Joe was doing a live Q&A webinar and live training. So you'll get live training and live Q&A sessions, so you'll get to ask myself or Joe anything that you want, whether it's on pay-per-click, whether it's on building your business. You know, you just got a pay-per-click client and you're ready to, you know, to take them to the next level, or you have a question, what should the contract look like, or proposal, whatever. So you're going to get this. We're going to keep adding our trainings. We've got this, what we call the training vault. So, you know, here, this is my training. We've got this ask a question section. So if you need to ask us a question, you can do that here. And then this also opens up the Facebook group. So I just want to show you that now. I don't know how many people are in it yet, because we're still bringing in new people. All right, so far we got 17 members. I mean, basically, everybody has to friend somebody and then get added to the group, but I think we're close to about 100 members now, and you know, this will be the Offliners Elite Facebook group. So whether it be in the Ask a Question or jumping in with the group, But not only that, but in the Offliners Elite, basically all the Offliners Elite will get first access to all of our tools. So everyone will probably get like beta access. This is going to be our continuing education group. And like I said, it's going to cover myself and Joe Troyer. And basically, if any of you have seen any of the emails going out and stuff like that for local keyword digger, here's the deal: is that Offliners Elite, right now we have a special going, and basically it's you get local keyword digger, which is Joe's new keyword tool, and which comes with, I believe, a year of support and free updates. So local keyword digger and a 30-day trial of Offliners Elite. So everything that you see here and in the members area, you get to dive in and start using it for 30 days. And the price is $47 for local keyword digger, which comes with a 30-day trial of Offliners Elite. And then after 30 days, if you continue to stay with Offliners Elite, now you get to keep local keyword digger and get support and updates with that for a year. But if you stay with us for Offliners Elite, it's just going to be $47 a month. And like I said, this is going to be the group. We've got the Facebook group to get direct access to us there. We've got the members area. We'll be keeping all of our trainings. You can see we're already spooled up for trainings this month. And then we're also going to be adding, these like video trainings. So it's not just going to be just the live trainings and Q&A sessions, but we're also going to be adding things to the vault. So, a lot of people have asked us, how do we keep going forward? And this is basically it. So we have, we've had groups in the past where Joe's done an inner circle with local lead generation explosion. That was $197 per month. And actually they only got one phone call per month. And, we considered doing something, and we may still do a group that's a little bit deeper on PPC, but for now, this is going to be it. This is it, Offliners Elite. So the way that you can pick up local keyword digger and the free 30-day trial to Offliners Elite is just go to localkeyworddigger.com. I'll paste that into the chat box. You'll see that the order button now just popped up. If anybody's already convinced they don't need to watch the video, but I would encourage you to watch the video and see what Joe has to say and all that. He put a lot of hard work into that, so he goes over what's included and let's see here. Okay, so that's great. Okay, so maybe it was my computer for a second. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'll post the link here in the chat box to buy as well for anybody that's ready right now. But you can see here you get local keyword digger and Offliners Elite. That's our our monthly training program. $47 now for local keyword digger, $0 for the first month of Offliners Elite, then $47 per month for Offliners Elite thereafter. So once again, we tried to make this price point affordable for everyone. As I mentioned, the last specialty group that Joe did was $197 a month, and that was that's a lot more. I see some questions asking about bonuses for PPC Experts Academy. Those are still coming. So with the training on this Thursday, so I believe we're scheduled for next Tuesday for part 2 of the Facebook traffic secrets with Jameson Brandon. That's going to be next Tuesday. And then also part of your bonuses are going to be when Lo Silva comes out with his LinkedIn course that you're going to get access to that as well. And then he's also going to do a Q&A webinar. So, don't worry, even though we're on week 4, and so, technically we're done with our weeks, we're not going to fall off the face of the earth here, and you're never going to hear from us again. The bonuses, everything is all still in the works. And, now that I'm completed with the PPC Experts Academy, I'm still going to do my Facebook training. That's probably going to be in the form of videos, and that probably will also go in the Offliners Elite Vault. So, so we can, use it for both. But Lo Silva, LinkedIn course, when he does come out with that, I don't know when that's scheduled, and then also a Q&A with him. And then I already talked to Jameson Brandon about doing part 2 of the Facebook traffic secrets on Tuesday of next week, probably about 6 or 7 p.m. So I'm just going to kind of look here at any questions. So I already answered yes. There's already content in Offliners Elite. So I mean, definitely, I think that Joe, as part of the video with the local keyword digger, when you go to the home page, he does a live walkthrough, and you can see exactly how the tool works. It integrates with SEMrush, and it's a great tool. I personally haven't had time, because I've been so busy with the Experts Academy, to really dive into the tool, and that's the reason why I haven't showed it to you guys, because I didn't want to open things up without having kind of gone through it myself first. So let's see what else. All right, Jisoo says she joined. That's great. Yuri says he's going to miss the AdWords marathons, but hopefully you'll join us in the Experts Academy. All right, Keith, yep, we'll definitely be covering PPC and the Offliners Elite. Paul says he bought it yesterday. So anybody that's still on that bought it, have you guys checked out any of the trainings that are already in there? If you have, if you would, just tell me, give me some feedback. So John asked, he says he's got local keyword digger, but he doesn't see anything about Offliners Elite when he logs in. So there's actually 2 different login areas. So local keyword digger has its own login area, and then Offliners Elite has its own login area. So you should have received an email giving you access to Offliners Elite, John. So if you haven't gotten that email, then definitely hit us up with a support ticket so you can jump in there and get access to that. Grant asked, do we get replays of bonuses in the members area of PPC Academy? Yes, absolutely. John, you said about being a beta tester. I believe that Joe, I don't know if he got it out, but he was going to get something out today for the beta testers to, I think, get access for a lower price point or something. So I know he was working on that today, and I don't think he finished it, but I know that our admin had asked him about that we were getting some support tickets about that, and that he was going to do something for that. Debbie, I'm going to get the bonuses up from last week for Facebook Traffic Secrets Part 1, and also the Part 2 of the optimization webinar probably tomorrow. Yep, so that previous week will be covered. Okay. Yeah, Doug, he says he's a beta tester. Yeah, like I said, Joe should be getting something out to everybody I don't know exactly what he wants to do, but I know I heard him talking about it today, and he said he would figure something out. So Krista asked, can we get Offliners Elite without local keyword digger? So basically, local keyword digger, you're getting Offliners Elite for free. So if you didn't get local keyword digger, then you'd pay $47 for the first month. But with local keyword digger, we're doing a special promotion right now, and combining them, so you pay $47 and you get a free month of Offliners Elite, which would generally be $47. So does anybody else have any questions on Offliners Elite, local keyword digger, PPC Experts Academy, anything that we covered tonight? All right, I appreciate that, Doug. Doug says he's got a recording of tonight in case something happens with mine. I think I'm good. All right, everyone. Thanks a lot, Rex. Guys, it's been incredible. I hope you all learned a lot. I'm actually going to be sending out a survey to everyone to just kind of gauge what everybody thought of the course. Was it easy to follow? I hope that it was, and that you're going to be able to implement some of these tactics and strategies into your business. So like I said, I'll be sending that survey out. I'll be getting the replays up in the members area. Don't forget too that we also have that really cool timeline. Let's see. Here we go. Oh. Hey everyone, Ben Pate here. We've got the really cool timeline feature that will have all the weeks updated. So anytime that you need to jump in and get some sort of a refresher, we've got the free 2-week trial for SEMrush in here as well. But here's all the timelines. This is a lot of work. Thanks to Randy for doing this. A lot of work to put together. And but the ad cloning trick right here, boom, you click on that, and there you are, right there. You're already brought into it. So I know that these webinars have gone incredibly long, and this is our effort to when you want to come back and for a refresher, that you can easily find things. So we'll be getting up the rest of week 3, as well as the timeline, as well as then getting in week 4, and then we'll have the bonus, the replay, for Traffic Secrets Part 1. I'll get the registration link up, and we'll keep going. So like I said, we'll still be in contact. You still got more to come, even though like the core of the course is done. We've got the bonuses coming, and I just really appreciate everyone for sticking on as long as they have. These things have gone long, and I know it's technical, so I just really thank you guys, and it's been a lot of fun, and I hope to hear a lot of great things from you guys. Please let me know. Friend me on Facebook, Ben Pate, and send me your success stories. I'll be sending out that survey as well, so maybe get some information there. But I want to hear about all your successes, building your accounts, getting clients, and just let me know. I mean, I really thrive on that feedback. So that's how I know that that things are clicking with everyone. So I just thank you all, and have a great night. I'll get the replays up ASAP, and I hope to see you all in the Offliners League. Thanks a lot. Have a great night, everyone.